Good evening. Carol Todd, huh? Telling the Amanda story. Thank you, Carol, for your bravery. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Yes, my name is Marie MacDougall, and it's a pleasure to be here in this beautiful building and to talk about love. And clearly, we're coming at it from another approach tonight. We're looking at the ways in which some of the worst that humans do to humans. I have to acknowledge that my people don't come from this land that we now call Canada. Like many of you, my ancestors come from other places, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored to be here, and I give tremendous gratitude to the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Musqueam, and Stelo people, the Coast Salish people that have stewarded this land since time immemorial. My ancestors come from northern Sweden and from Western Africa, and I was born in Vancouver, and Vancouver was one of two homes that I consider. The other home was here in Surrey. Yes, I went to Frankfurt, I went to Green Timbers, and I went to Mary Jane Shannon. And way back then, this didn't exist. This was trees. But I tell you what did exist, that continues to persist, unrelenting, unabated, and that is gender-based violence. And in order to talk about violence in relationships, to talk about sexual harassment, to talk about sexual assault, we have to start with an understanding of colonization. The making of Canada baked in the stratification of us as people and baked in some very particular ways that women experience subjugation. I wonder if we could key up the next film, my first film, second for tonight.
Mitsep Kotwilam at Tanash, Masquimos, Tamoch, Tanawell. I Quanish Qualo and Squins Equits Nala. Schamtanot Conisqui, Tanitsent, Homasquium. We got here to what is now known as Vancouver through an ongoing and horrific colonization and genocide of what is still my ancestors' land, of what is still sacred land. Connecting the dots between what happens to the land happened to my women first. All across Turtle Island, the women have been commodified, we have been dehumanized, we have been hypersexualized, and we are hunted, we are murdered. And this is connected to Gassy Jack because he ran a bar that catered to the loggers and the other men who were here doing the work that destroyed and removed the trees and my ancestors' spaces, that catered to the men who violated my women. And Gassy Jack himself, married to a First Nations woman whose name is erased, deleted, forgotten, yet his name is here on land that was never his. Gassy Jack is connected to murdered and missing Indigenous women, to colonization, to gentrification, to the destruction of a culture that was so beautiful and proud and powerful that since the first sunrise for well over 10,000 years, we stood and loved and cared for this land. When you look at the fact that our land has been destroyed to gain access to fossil fuels that aren't even necessary anymore. Our women are being kidnapped and stolen and shipped around the world, just like our logs and our water and our air. It's just another commodity. The only future that I'm working towards is a future where we are safe, where we are empowered, where we are connected, and we work together in ways that benefit everybody. That is a completely different system than what we have been forced to live under for the last couple hundred years here. The future I'm working towards, the future I'm creating, I'm not sitting back waiting for anyone to do the work. I'm doing my work. I'm doing the work that my ancestors put me here to do. Our number one job is to heal ourselves first. Start doing your work. Start healing yourself. And what you learn and what you find, share it. Empower the women around you. Find respectful ways to work together and honor each other and support the good work you do together. Gassy Jack's statue, still standing there, commemorates and celebrates the ongoing devastation of First Nations people, our laws, our lands, our rights, and mostly our women. When I see that statue there, it enrages me. It offends me, it insults me, it hurts me, and it motivates me to keep doing what I have to do to reclaim, to be another one of those red women rising.
As Audrey Siegel says, gives some of the history of the making of Canada and the ways in which that has impacted Indigenous women. In order to understand many of the social problems that we have within society in contemporary times, the history is with us each and every day. And the ways in which we become stratified as women, and the ways in which we become vulnerable to gender-based violence, to violence in relationships, to violence on the street, to violence online. I work for an organization that was started many years ago. We just commemorated our 40th anniversary. And it wasn't a celebration, it was a commemoration. We seriously want to work ourselves out of business. The organization is Battered Women's Support Services. And the organization was started with one goal, and that goal was to end violence against women. And I came to this work, the work of ending violence against women, from my own experiences as a girl, witnessing my mother's abuse. My own experiences of dating violence, and my own experiences in high school, seeing many of my friends experience abuse in relationships, on dates, and then also sexual assault. On the weekend, sexual assault was endemic. It was an epidemic, and it was something that people talked about on Monday morning, but not from the point of view of sexual violence, but from the point of view of the slut on the Saturday night. And the ways in which we have baked in particular versions of victim blaming, which is to hyper make visible the individual that has been the victim and to render invisible those that perpetrate. And I appreciate so much the ways in which Amanda Todd, in her compelling truth-telling video, shared her experience, made plain what was happening in her life. And each and every day, from the time that I was a girl and the time that I was a youth in high school and as an adult, we know most definitely that violence against women is endemic and it's an epidemic. And it is about the ways in which our culture is shaped, the social norms that we have, and it's also the ways in which it is played out within families. And that every day in schools just like this, in grade schools down the road, 9 children on average are witnessing their mother's abuse. Every week, a woman in Canada is killed by her partner. 5 children in every Canadian school classroom has witnessed their mother being assaulted by their father or father figure. At BWSS, we're working to change that, because safety changes everything. Please, give the gift of safety. we wanted this video to show, to make visible what's happening in homes. So much of the time when we're raised as girls, we're told to be careful when we go outside, that the danger is outside. And I remember, back in the day when I lived on 146th Street and around 90th, and Frank Hurt is over away, and of course back then there were no buses. And so I did sports, and I used to, get up every morning, and of course it was always raining, and it was always winter. And I would walk, in the dark down 88th from 146 down to 140th to wait for what would be the first bus in the morning to get out to school. And of course, past the feral dogs and the opossums and the raccoons, and just be scared of all of this wildlife out there. But every day when I would be getting up in the morning, routinely listening to Carrie Marshall on CKLG radio, giving the news, he would talk about sexual assaults at University of British Columbia. He would talk about sexual violence, and he would always say, there was a sexual assault last night, a woman was sexually assaulted. Police are telling women to not go out at night alone, to walk in pairs, to not be out alone. And, receiving this information made it very clear that the point was really about the public realm was not a place where women could be safely. And that if you went outside, you would be at risk of sexual assault. Never did I ever hear Carrie Marshall say in the morning, there was a sexual assault at UBC, a man sexually assaulted a woman. Men must stay inside. That was never a question. What's rendered invisible there is the perpetration, and what is made hypervisible are the victims and the victim's responsibility. And so that's the public realm. This video that we just saw is to give us some information with respect to the private realm. And that for so many women, the public realm has the fear, but the home is where the war zone is. The home is where the children and the family are living in fear. And it's making visible the private realm of violence is what I seek to do every single day of my life. Again, because of my own experiences, and also because I'm a mother. Leona Michelle Green came to my life as my daughter. She's an adult now, and doesn't like me talking about her in spaces like this, and she's not here. But I'll tell her that you laughed when I said that, and she'll roll her eyes. But giving birth to her was very significant to me because I wanted her to have a different experience than I had as a girl. I wanted her to get the kind of support that I didn't get from my family, and also for her to understand that she had a safe place to be when she was out in the world. The other thing that brought me to this work was the rape and murder of my beloved friend, Patricia Ann McPherson, that I knew from grade school, who was killed on a date. She was date raped and then killed by a man that we know. And she was killed in 1988. And it was at that point, I was in my formal education was about counseling, psychology, and I wanted to help people heal. I thought I want to, do healing, which is important. We need to heal, and begin to love ourselves. But I also recognized that this was bigger than just individuals. That yes, we need to heal ourselves. Yes, we need to stand in our power. Yes, we need to find a way to redress the personal harm that we've had when we've experienced abuse. But what was so clear to me that this was a way bigger issue beyond individuals. This had a whole lot to do with our relationships for sure, but also our institutions, and also the larger society. It's been so baked in, and I know that hasn't changed. I know that this weekend, girls from this school will experience sexual violence. I feel 100% sure of that. And I also know that for every woman that is experiencing violence, that there are many that leave and that find a way to find safety. And so organizations like ours, and I'm so grateful to be able to be here in support of Moving Forward Society, because we remember Moving Forward Society when it started, and it's come so far and plays such a significant role in helping people heal. Community-based resources are essential, and that the love that we have in our families and our communities is often expressed in major ways through helping people heal within community-based organizations and also within activist organizations such as Battered Women's Support Services. I want you to take a look at another video, please. It's a very short one, to give you a sense of what it's like to be at home with an abusive partner. Hey, you didn't receive the call. Come on, open up.
Open up. Come on, it's me. Hey. I know you're in there. Open the door. Open up!
Oh my god. Yeah, that is scary. So disturbing. I don't know what I would do.
I know you're in there. Open the door!
February 14th is the day that we commemorate love in a formal sense. It's also the day that we acknowledge the February 14th Women's Memorial March. In thinking about love and self-love and love in relationships and love in community and love in society, we do need to do the deep work of pulling up the roots of what are some of the biggest social problems in our society. And it's a good thing for us to examine the making of Canada as a nation and to look at what is good about this country, that is the country that I was born, and also where some of these problems come from. It is good for us to be fierce and fearless in our examining our own lives as individuals, to examine the ways in which power is played out in our relationships, to examine the ways in which our community is acting in the best interest of us all as a community, and to look at our society. We are in dangerous times. I think there's always been dangerous times, but one of the things that we have right now is so much information. So this is the time when we can hold each other close and that we can pull in and get really intimately close with those around us and to tell truths and to seek justice. So with that in mind, maybe I could just ask you all to stand. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for right now, just think about what you love, what matters to you most today, right now. What do you love? Hold that to your heart and know that we have a lot of work to do as a people, but what you feel right now is what is going to carry us through. Good evening.